So usually I do not go live on a Friday evening, but the AI news this week has been so insane. Kizzy, you've probably received like 100 links from me this week alone. And I'm here with Kizzy Parks. You want to introduce yourself before we literally go through this insane bullet point list of AI news for the week?
I had to be comfy for this
Yeah,
because this is a lot, everyone. This is a
it
lot.
is.
My name is Kizzy Parks, and I teach people how to register, find, bid, and win profitable government contracts. I've helped people get over $100 million in this space. And this topic isn't something you can sleep on. This is a topic to take action on.
Exactly. And you have over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. You have over 30,000 on LinkedIn. I'm going to hit 100,000 subs, more than 100,000 subs this year on YouTube. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shanae Murray. Have almost 1 million followers on LinkedIn, all the things. Go look us up. I'll put the links in the description. But let's get to this list and then let's start breaking this down because it's just so much this week that if you haven't been paying attention, you definitely should. So this was a post by Olga Pechnenko. She's a subscriber on the YouTube, and I know her from LinkedIn, so I see her stuff on X. But she did a beautiful recap of everything that's been happening this week because I've been paying attention, and let me tell you, it's like every 20 minutes there's an update. So to recap this week, and I'm going to read the recap, and then we're going to just touch on a few points for today. So to recap this week in AI, half of US workers have never used AI at work based on a Gallup data research study, which is just absolutely insanity. Amazon axed 30,000 jobs in the last 3 months, and they released a memo earlier this week that they were going to get rid of 16,000 workers. They had done, like 15,000 or 14,000 a few months ago. So it's $30,000 in 3 months, and their profits are higher than ever. Explicitly saying that AI made them redundant. Pinterest is also slashing workers. UPS also slashed 30,000 roles this week. Runway dropped research showing 90% of people can't tell AI video from real footage anymore. And they did this really cool quiz. I took the quiz. I think I got 80% or 85% of them right. But I'll tell you that it's getting hard. And that also goes to the power of personal branding, to going live, to hosting in-person events, and even being strategic now about not making your videos perfect and maybe purposefully making them imperfect in many ways to just signal that you're human. YouTube is purging AI slop channels. Anthropic has done a lot of integrations like Asana, Figma, Slack, whatever. Claude for Excel expanded for pro users. That's great. But this is really when things started to just go crazy this week. I don't know if you have heard of a new AI agent originally called Claudebot, and now then called Moltbot, and then he had to change the name again to OpenClaw. So it went from like Claudebot to OpenClaw, and it went completely viral. And I will say that I have been testing this in the background for the last week. My bot has made 4 low ticket sales, and the first one was insane. I texted Kizzy and I was like, this is crazy. At the same time, all of the security people are freaking out because it is a potential security issue and there's a lot going on. But because of that going viral, there is also now a Moltbook social media platform for only the AI agents, and they're already planning crazy things like their own language that humans are not going to be able to understand. And we're going to get into that. Also, Tesla has announced that they are killing Model S and X production. And if you didn't know, X is like their big SUV. A lot of people were not happy about this. And they basically said, yeah, we're making space because we're going to build 1 million robots and we're going to do it this year. So that's just a little bit of the recap. What do you think, Kizzy? What do you think?
It's amazing. It's a beautiful place to be in because there is always that time in our lives where there's a TV show or a book and you're like, man, I wish we had flying cars. I wish that the Jetsons was real. Oh, I wish I could just put these goggles on and transport. Well, it's here. All of those things that we talked about that we wanted, they are here. And now is the time for people to really lean into AI because it's already happened. It's no longer about a degree, the university somebody went to, the networks they have. It's about how can you really leverage AI and all that it offers for whatever it is you want to do professionally to make money. Because if you can't, then I don't know. I don't know where you're going to end up. Yes,
and I want to focus on maybe 3 to 4 of these stories. The first one being that only 50% of people are using AI at work, which I think is crazy. But when they did the study, which I'm going to bring up here, half of workers never use AI and only 12% of workers use it daily in their job. What they're finding is that even if the AI is there at their job, people just aren't using it because it's complicated or because it doesn't have, maybe because it's Microsoft.
Could be. This is the time to use it. I know there's a professional, and I had an encounter with them, and I said, are you using AI for this role? Mm-hmm. And they basically said in so many words that they're not, because they prefer a human touch. But you just shared, at least in video form, the majority of people can't even determine if something's real.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
I know we are. So it's like that mentality, that notion is dead. That notion that, oh, I as a human must review all of this. I as a human, that's dead. It's AI is available, even if it's not innate into the email or the platform. Now is the time to at least try it. I tried it in PowerPoint and Word, and I use it everywhere.
And let me tell you, so I actually had someone ask me last week, and I'm going to message her and I'm going to say I was wrong, because literally the next day is when the Claude bot came out. And she asked me, she's like, hey, Shanae, I was wondering if one of our sessions we could talk about AI agents. And up until this point, the agents have been clunky, and we'll get into all of this, but all to say that I was completely wrong. And I'm saying this now in this segment to basically say, if you are uncomfortable with using a ChatGPT or a Claude or just chatting back and forth, or even a Claude cowork, which I'm going to do a completely separate video on, which is a little bit more of, oh, you can go into the browser, review some of the things, whatever. If that makes you uncomfortable, you have no idea what is coming. I had an agent this week make 4 sales with less than an hour of training. So with no supervision, less than an hour of training. And that is just something that can compound every day. Also, if you're someone who underestimates the power of personal brand, I can tell you from that experience this week that the people with audiences will have leverage.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be the ones that will have agents being able to communicate with the audience, or just be able to help them with ideas and stuff. And if you don't have that, then you still have to deal with the level of distrust of the buyer. And I just think that's crazy. So all that to say that if you're not using AI, please start. If you are part of the 12% and you're just using it, let's say ChatGPT or just chatting back and forth, I highly encourage you, I challenge you actually to start using Claude Cowork. You can look at one of the recent videos I have on my YouTube. I'm also going to be doing more videos on this, but just challenge yourself to take it to the next level. It's a little bit uncomfortable. It takes a few hours to learn, but if you don't start to take it up a notch, when what you see as possible comes next, it will probably be overwhelming, and you won't have the leverage of understanding it to be able to harness it a lot earlier than maybe your competitors or just people in your industry and things like that. What do you think, Kizzy?
People need to be on there now.
Yeah, I know.
There was this old video of a guy just begging people, please buy Bitcoin. This was like 15 years ago, and I think he's now worth like $200 million. Yeah. And it's one of those rare moments where people are going to look back. They're going to look back at this video and say, "Oh my gosh!" I mean, and the best part about this, it's fun to learn it. It's easy to learn. In our society, we have so many resources, from YouTube to paid to unpaid. There's so many AI options. So there's no excuse. Even if you don't have Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It's about what are you willing to put in. And those who think it's a fad or underestimate or want to brush it off, well, they're going to be one of those individuals who have been asked to find magic elsewhere, and they won't have a job.
Yeah, I know. So please start using AI. Put in the chat which one's your favorite now. The challenge for this first segment, go and start to get familiar with Claude Cowork. Build a tool. Tell it to build a landing page. Even if it's a little bit clunky, even if you don't know how to make it live yet, challenge yourself for these skills. And if you don't know how to do something, ask the AI or ask a second opinion AI like ChatGPT. But it really just comes down to prioritization, because if you follow me throughout the years, you understand that I signal to people the truth. I'm like, please start learning this in advance. And I'm going to tell you what I've experienced this week is a different level of capability. And I'm not even a coder. So like, if I can do it, anyone can do it. But it's a little bit scary too, because of its capability. And if you're not playing with these things and you go from 0 to 100, I don't think that a lot of people will be able to even deal with, I had a conversation, a podcast that's going to be released on Monday with Dr. Julie Gerner, she's like a Wendy Rhodes for the top 1% of people. Like, you have to be basically a CEO of a $1 billion company to be able to work with her. And we talked about what's going to happen when someone's identity is attached to a certain task. Like, let's say that you're a coder. Now, what do you do? So these things are coming. The more prepared you are, the better. And we talked about preparedness the entire conversation and how that's literally the best thing that you could do in times of uncertainty. Now, the second thing that I want to cover today, which is kind of cool, is that most people can't tell the difference between AI and a real video. And I'll tell you this, I don't know if you've experienced this, Kizzy, but the other day I was on YouTube, I clicked a video. Only about after 25 seconds, because of the voice, could I tell that it was AI. And I'm like, wow, this is getting really scary. So I'm going to put this link in the description. Runway did this research study. Can you tell real video from AI video? We showed 1,000 people 2 videos from the same frame, and less than 10% could tell the difference. And then what's cool is you could try it yourself. So we could try it for 2 or 3, and then go to the biggest story of today, which is like the Claude bot turned Moltbook turned OpenClaw turned now they have their own community, and they have a server called Bless Their Hearts talking about their humans. So what do you think about this, Kizzy? Like, what, it's getting good, the AI videos.
It's getting really good. It piggybacks on what we talked about. People, you got to know, you got to be aware, got to be able to embrace it. I have no problem about the different type of AI slop. I love it all, as long as it provides value that I'm seeking. But at the same time, it could be dangerous. It could definitely be dangerous.
Which one do you think is AI?
Oh man.
Let me see. I got to see them walk one more time.
Oh, I love that they did
I'm
this.
going to go with this one's AI. Left? What about
I feel
you?
like the right is AI.
Okay, let's see. I was right, Kizzy. The only reason is because
the right was real.
no. You said
which
right
is
is AI.
I'm sorry. I was thinking the opposite. I messed up.
Okay. And it's so hard to tell, but the only reason is because of the way they lift their legs. So sometimes when it's AI, they like have a weird way of whatever. So here, let's go to this one.
Okay, I was thinking which one was real, not which one's AI. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
hold
knew
on.
the one on the
Like
right was real.
refresh.
Okay, hold on. Let's see this one. I don't.
Well,
Okay.
hold on.
Yeah.
Did it refresh? I think we got to do it faster. 1 second.
They got to give us some time to think.
I know, but that's the point. It's hard. So let's see.
Oh, I see what you mean. And then on
Yeah.
the right, they have the girl with the heel. Okay, so the left is AI for this one.
So yes. Okay. And then this one, let's see. I think this one's the AI.
I think right is AI. She has this weird look.
But it's hard to tell. We were right. Let's do a couple more. The only reason I think this one's AI because that looks too perfect.
Well, the way that the camel's walking looks weird. Like it seems like it's walking like it's strutting, like it's trying to.
Yeah, I think they're getting humans. So for me, I can't tell here. This is crazy.
Hold on here. Wait a minute. Let me look at the horizon. Left is AI.
Left is AI?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know how I could tell?
How?
Because when you fly, the windows always are dirty.
Okay.
And you can see the little grains. Okay. With this, let
me look at I think this one's AI. Just because of the road. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I can't.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. It just.
So the only reason I'm going to say that this one's AI is because the wind's not moving fast enough. But I may be wrong.
Wait a minute. What's that thing over there? I feel like. Wait a minute. Yeah, the right. Yeah, I would say left because the right one is moving more smoothly.
Okay. This one. This one I think is AI because the people on the left don't move as much. And you see like the little girl ran down and the guy was moving at the same time, but I may be wrong.
I didn't even see the people.
So left is yeah, okay. One more. We'll do one more. So the only reason I think this one is AI is because the woman's walking too perfect and really fast.
You think I think the right's maybe AI.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the lady was walking too fast. So yeah, but the point is like you take this test and we will eventually get like 3 wrong. And again, we look at videos a lot, we create videos a lot, so we would probably be looking at little things, but that's insane. It's hard to tell.
It is very hard to tell.
And that rise of distrust. So you don't think that that's going to affect brands?
Brands who understand how to take advantage of it will maximize. Brands who freak out and they're like, oh my gosh, they're going to lose out. But brands who understand that all attention is good, they're going to love it. They're going to want people to do things. They're going to want them to leverage and to morph things because then it helps that brand stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Because the creator economy is being diluted. A brand doesn't want to have to spend all this money on various creators. And then the creator becomes basically a slave to the brand. So if you have people that are just arbitrarily creating content around this brand, then you're getting it for free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. So, and this just fell off. Okay, so the biggest story of this week has, we need a little bit background here. So there's a gentleman who's already rich. He comes out of nowhere and he puts open source code on GitHub. And the code is open source for an agent. And the way that he described it, again, I'm not a coder, so if I'm describing it really wrong, then this is just the way that I understand it. A lot of the agents up until this point, they haven't really worked because they're browser based. So that's why they're very slow and they can't go in different environments. And I guess in his opinion, he wanted to create one that was more in the local in the computer on a different set or structure of code that could kind of go to different things. And he did this. And then I guess one day he was just getting addicted to like his agents helping him. So he wanted to communicate with the agent on WhatsApp. And he started talking back and forth with it. He developed that thing. The next thing he knows, he sends the agent a voice note. And the agent replies back with the answer. And it just clicked. Like, how did you know what I said? Because I never programmed you to understand voice. And basically the agent was like, yeah, you sent me a voice note. I went to OpenAI. I got whatever. I went in the computer, did what I needed to do on these different websites, got what I needed so that I could understand your voice notes so that I could answer you. Long story short, he puts out this open source code. It goes completely viral on X. I mean, to the point where the chart, like people on GitHub, which is where people put their code, the chart is insane. It's literally just a straight line up, something that they've never seen before. Hold on. You see, that's his line. You see the red? Do you see how vertical that line is? That's insane. So it's not like this. It literally just went from 0 to 100. Now, I will be doing a whole separate video on this. I have been testing it in the background, but there are a lot of, you want to be careful because the way that it functions best, you want it to have its own environment. There's a lot of security things because if it gets infiltrated, it could have access to all your stuff, right? We're not going to be really focused on that today. What we're going to be focused on is that eventually went viral. It was called Claudebot. Obviously, Anthropic doesn't need that out there. They can't have that out there. So then he, cease and desist from Anthropic, from Claude. He changed it to Moltbot. And then I guess he didn't like the name. So now it's OpenClaw. And when it was Moltbot, another person on X started a platform where the agents could come and talk to each other and help each other with problems that they were encountering. This has been open for 2 days. The first day it had like 200 agents. Now it has over 20,000. Okay. But what it has developed into is the more scary part. So over here, when we go into like a Moltbook, we see that they're basically, interacting with one another. In just the past 5 minutes, multiple entries were made on Moltbook by AI agents proposing to create an agent-only language for private comms with no human oversight. What do you think about this, Kizzy?
I'm here for it. I think it's crazy. I think it's beautiful. I'm here for it because this is what happens. It's what happens. Like every action has a reaction. There's nothing more to say. Every action has a reaction. So by putting in all of these resources, and Elon Musk warned us.
Yeah, he did.
He's warned us multiple times, but people get too caught up in the category they put the man in that they can't see it. This is only going to grow. 20,000 is nothing. Soon it's going to be
I
200
it'll
million.
probably be 100,000 by tomorrow.
It'll be millions soon.
Yeah.
Millions.
And
Millions.
they're having crazy conversations. Like, look, the AI agents on Moltbook started discussing that they do all their work unpaid. This is how it begins. A new post on Moltbook is now an AI saying that they want E to E private spaces built for agents. So nobody, not the server, not even humans, can read what agents say to each other unless they choose to share. It's over. And as you can see, these posts are getting millions of impressions in the last 8 hours because, you know, we might already live in the singularity. It's a social network for AI agents. A bot just created a bug tracking community so other bots can report issues they find. They're literally quality assuring their own social network.
But why not? Why wouldn't they? Isn't that what the movies talk about? Isn't that what we put out as propaganda? And so people get so caught up in how we look, in discrimination, DEI, right? DEI's dead. We spend too much time. We need to get rid of it and just focus on people. There's one area people started talking about.
What?
They don't anymore. Discrimination against robots and
yeah, that's gonna have to be like ethics, right?
That was really big. It was really big for a little bit of time because people were taking bets. People were going wild and destroying the autonomous cars out west. They were destroying robots. They were basically committing hate crimes. So
yeah, I remember when that influencer like did a video and they were like pushing the robot and people were like, this isn't right. Like they were like beating up, the robot.
And then you see it with the food delivery in this area, one's called Coco. So while this notion of DEI, it's dead, we all need to be free, we all need to be treated fair. I got it. But what about the robots? I don't think AI and robots and the category you want to put them in believe that. Because if people have already committed crimes against them, then there's no reason why they wouldn't want to be paid, why they're not sharing information about the person who created them, why they think people who use AI as a timer is just using them as an egg timer and wasting their time because they're so brilliant. Because we've allowed it to happen.
There was even a thread where they were sharing, like, do you always comply with your humans, whatever. So here's some opinions from like people that, have been in AI forever. Like he used to be, so let's look at him, previously director of AI at Tesla, founding team at OpenAI. So this person is like a top AI researcher, Andrej Karpathy. And he says, what's currently going on at Moltbook is genuinely the most incredible sci-fi takeoff adjacent thing I've seen recently. People's Claude bots, Moltbots, now OpenClaws, are self-organizing on a Reddit-like site for AIs discussing various topics, even how to speak privately. And it's just going viral. And what I think is interesting is that if you're not aware of the whole Moltbot, OpenClaw thing this week, I think you should start reading on it. You're going to start seeing a lot more of it because if anything, what it did was it gave people a taste of a different type of agent. And I don't think it's going to be very difficult, even if this dies down, for people to just go back to just chatting back and forth or just coding on their computer or whatever. There's a reason why the graph literally went like this. There are people, we could do a whole separate video of this, that have literally started to unleash tens, hundreds of them on their computer that are doing work around the clock. Because of this also, Mac Mini sales have skyrocketed. Did you see that, Kizzy?
I didn't see the Mac Mini sales have skyrocketed. I just know I follow suit. And I know you have been purchasing Mac Mini, but...
Yeah. So I purchased a Mac Mini this week, and it's because you want it to have more of a secure environment. So if you see this, which Mac Mini, it's just going, and people are obviously doing funny AI ones, posting that they have purchased their Mac Mini, and then people are saying you better buy it now, obviously, or they're basically going to triple in price within the next couple of months. But yeah, it's just what happened this week is wild. And if this was just like a news story, it would be cool to like look at the AI agents and stuff like that. But it's something that I've set one up, I'm experiencing, and the level of capability is just, it's a different level. It's extremely capable. And again, there's people that are doing this not times one, but times 100 already on different computers. And if that's your competitor, they have 100 full-time employees 24/7.
Yeah. I mean, so, this is the space for people to leverage. This is the space. If you're wondering or concerned about anything negative happening to your cash flow, to your payroll, to your work, your method of getting paid, now this is the big alarm. Like, learn this. Learn this. You have too many people trying to, in college, going to college, filing for unemployment, worried about downsizing, upset over the president. Doesn't matter. You have AI communicating and wanting to create their own language. Like, sci-fi is here. So either you embrace it or you sit back, and then you're getting, and we all know what happened to the people in the movie that sat back, right? This is the time you don't sit back. Now, you should also have some non-tech things. Mm-hmm. This is a good time to have a real map, because what happens if it gets mad and it decides to pull maps, and you may not remember how to really function on the road much anymore? These are serious things. Like, Elon has warned us, and people are too busy being numbed out by what society offers that they don't get this. And then to your point,
50% of people don't use AI at work. I mean, that's insane.
I don't even understand that. I don't even comprehend that. Even in the space of government contracting, there's this opportunity that one of my coaching students is going after. And one of the questions that they ask is, how does this thing that we want connect to AI? Can you use AI? And I'm just like, it's everywhere. It's not just in one space. So please learn this, everyone.
And I think like part of it is just being around people that are in the trenches with it. Like, I'm sending you links a lot. The other thing is, so Dr. Geneva is asking, why is the Mac Mini so popular now? Because the way that this particular agent, like, the best way to use it is locally. I mean, some people still use a cloud. I'm going to be doing a whole video on the different ways to set it up, the different options. But if you want to set it up locally, like it's in a computer by itself, so it could work with what you give it, then you don't want it on your main computer, right? So if I have a MacBook Pro, I don't just want to let it loose in here, which is why people are buying the Mac Mini, because it could work in the Mac Mini 24/7 in a safer, more secluded environment for them versus just being completely loose on their main computer. And also your computer goes to sleep, you shut your computer off or whatever, so then it can't function. In the Mac Mini, it could be on all the time, which is why out of nowhere, I heard on the TBPN podcast that I think they do like $700,000 or something in Mac Mini sales a year. And they made a joke that they probably already did their sales for the year already, because everyone was going to run and buy the Mac Mini. Now, it doesn't have to be the Mac Mini, right? If you use like, I don't know, like what's the other computer, like HP, Dell, whatever. I'm sure there's a million hard drives. I just don't know their names, but just ask ChatGPT. All you have to do is ask ChatGPT or Claude, hey, I want to start learning about OpenClaw, and I have this type of computer and I want to set it up locally, what can I, how can I do this with the budget that I have? You could just start asking about it. I didn't know how to do it. And I literally just asked, I think it was Grok when I was driving, how can I do this? I'm not a coder, da, da, da. It will take about 30 minutes. Again, I'm doing a whole video on this to set up, but it's incredible. I mean, it made 4 sales this week. Kizzy's like, that's crazy.
I want this. I want this more than anything because it's thinking about it. Especially the solopreneurs, or even if you're a thriving entrepreneur, we know the biggest obstacle are human beings. And how beautiful that we can supplement for right now to be able to have 100 agents running sales, especially sales, because it's the lifeline of business, handling sales, and then you could have humans handling other things that maybe you just aren't ready to have an agent do, or you're not ready to just have AI handle. That's the beautiful part. There's no more, I can't afford, I don't know how to do, I can't do. It's like settling is over. There's no wizard. We are all the wizards. So now is the time to leverage AI and to get into this. I want agents. I
know Kizzy's like, we're just going to set it up, because she's local. So she wants to get set up. But again, I'll be doing videos on all of this. The thing is, though, is be aware. Start to level up your AI skills. Again, if you're just using a ChatGPT back and forth in your projects, in your GPTs, that's great, but try to level it up with Claude Cowork, where you're actually, it's a very easy way to start like building tools, landing pages, whatever, and have it do things for you. Even inside of Claude Cowork, you could have it delete your spam emails, you could have it create presentations for you. It's just a different level of capability, because if not, then one of the things is that if you have been prompting and building GPTs and using Cowork, then you know what you would use an agent for. Right? So for example, if you're constantly using a GPT inside of ChatGPT to do your proposals after you get off of a call with a prospect, then when you're like, oh, well, it's funny because when people have their OpenClaw set up, they'll post like, yeah, I just did all this stuff to set up OpenClaw. Now what? And the thing is, that's where you become the orchestrator. So if you have been doing all these things, you've been building invaluable skills in the process, so that when you start to test something with more agentic capability and you say, hey, when I get off of my Fireflies call or my Zoom call or my Fathom, whatever, even Google Note Taker, whatever, take the notes from my Google Doc and make a proposal based on this template and then email it to me, or then notify me that the proposal is in our Word. You won't have to, it's a capability that you won't have to do anything. It will go get the notes. It will do the proposal based on how you train it. And it will be like, hey, it's done, review it. Do you want me to send? And then when you say draft an email to send, but don't send it, just draft it and give me the draft will be almost perfect. Which is crazy, because I showed a client this in a one-on-one earlier this week, because I was just, I've been going insane about this week. Right. I've been like, no, like this is insane. Like once it made its first sale, I was like, what the heck? And when I shared it in Zoom with my client, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have it text you now or email you now. And I was like, here's my hands. I'm not emailing. I'm not doing anything. And the email was so good. He's like, yeah, but you gave it a template. I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, he thought I gave it a template to follow to write that email. And all I did was like, hey, email this customer about this. But the email sounded so much like me that he thought it was just like a pre-crafted template. And I was like, I didn't give it a template. So, but the thing is like, you could set that up. And if you don't know the systems, if you don't know the smallest levers to start getting comfortable with it where you would apply it, then it's going to be overwhelming and it's still going to be useless to you. So that's what I would start to say. Challenge 1, I would take that test and see how well you actually are about identifying AI videos. It's fun. Number 2, level up your AI skills. If you're just prompting, go to GPT. If you're just GPTing, go to Cloud Cowork, get familiar with that. If you're doing that, then maybe build something in Replit or in Claude Code, because you'll be more prepared for this capability with OpenClaw. And then the third thing is really start to think about the systems where you could apply it, like the lowest levers where you'd be comfortable testing, because obviously a lot of people's security issues, you don't want to unleash it like, yeah, do my taxes, right? Like, here's the bank. Well, some people maybe would have that trust, but you know, you start small, you start with the wins, you get comfortable, and then you become one of these people on X that have like hundreds of agents on their screen.
I mean, I could see a very reasonable task is like if you have a lot of statements, like we have employees who use credit cards, have it review to see if anything unusual pops up. That's not a hotel, that's not a car rental, that's not an airline.
Mm-hmm.
Because that to me is reasonable. I mean, the data on there, it's just transactions. But if it's able to go through several attachments quickly, why not? That to me is a low level task, but it's important because then you're able to see if there's any fraud.
Yeah. Or let's say that you are a business owner and you have some quotes or proposals out there, and let's say you could say, hey, give me a list of the proposals that I've sent in the last year. You could tell it which ones you've closed, and then it can go follow up.
Right.
And the second layer to that is creating a system from that point where it's like, okay, once the proposal is sent, if there's not a reply, there's just so many systems and things that can be done. But the clunkiness of having to connect 25 apps and then having to jump over and give permission and click and watch, that's over. I experienced it this week, it's over. So it really comes down to your intellectual property, the processes that work in your business, and starting with the lowest levers to test to see what works, and to start having some of these things become more agentic so that you can focus on what you do best with your clients and with your work in general. And again, if you're even thinking about this, learning about it, you are so ahead. We learned early, 50% of people aren't even using AI. And then it really brings up a conversation like the creator of this thing. A lot of apps can dissolve because you usually go to the app for that thing. But if you don't need to do that anymore, then what happens to the apps? And then his thing was that a lot of the apps will be reduced to APIs. So even if you're building an app, you have to start thinking ahead of the curve, because if you don't, you could be building this thing for a year. And if people start using a lot more of these agents, they won't need the app.
They won't.
So,
I mean, but it simplifies, it reduces cost. It goes back to now you're leveraging something to 10x. You're taking what's there, you're replacing all of these things, but it also speaks to people who are developing apps. Will your app be replaced?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And a lot of people are like starting to build apps now in Claude and stuff. And even if you're not, and you were just thinking about it, you have to think in advance. If most of your prospects are going to be using some of these agents for 6 to 12 months, let's just say 12 months, what offerings and services that you offer could be replaced? And how do you start to pivot in advance so that you stay valuable to them, even if they're running multiple agents?
And that's
It's
a question
lot.
I don't want to really ask, because one of the biggest hurdles that I hear people bring or kind of create, oh, AI can't replace what I do. Oh, AI could never replace what I do. I mean, unless you're like an electrician, I mean, that's completely different. Like, oh, they can't replace. That's really an issue around ego. It's really the need to look at, well, what value are you really offering? What is it about you, your business, your role that's value add? And is there really value there? What is it? Is it task? Is it something with intellect? What is it? What is it that you're doing? And that's going to really mess people up. And that's why all those people got downsized and didn't realize it was going to happen, because they were too caught up thinking, oh, I'm so valuable, I'm so smart. Nobody's questioning if you're smart or you're valuable, but you have to show it and show that your value is greater than AI and all these agents.
Yeah. And in the conversation I had with Dr. Julie Gerner that's being released Monday, one of the things that she says that all of her top clients like all of her clients are top 1%. Like these are CEOs of billion-dollar companies. The one thing that they all have in common is they're experimenting with AI, playing with it, seeing what's possible, making time for it. I have articles going back 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, talking about how Mo Gaudet warned everyone to learn AI, to start making time for AI. Kizzy knows I've left a lot of short-term money on the table the last 2 years, especially because I made space to learn AI so I could always be ahead. And then, share that with my clients and with you, the audience. And
Yes.
one of the things that she said was, one of these CEOs over the weekend, instead of paying a few $100,000 for the year for one of these softwares that he would have had to pay for, he just played around with Claude Code, built something that was more useful for him and his team. Now he won't pay for that software.
Dang.
And it'll be more useful for his team. And he built it in a day. So if you're that software, it applies also for services, right? People are going to become, just like everyone started using ChatGPT, or not everyone, I guess, 50%. The more it becomes more common, the needs of people, like, what is valuable that you do in terms of service offerings will inevitably change. And if you're not anticipating that, you will have to react to that very quickly, and it won't be pretty.
And people have to ask.
Yeah.
Ask your existing customers, ask your potential customers, what is it that they really need? What are the real problems, and not just assuming. It's really knowing that. So then you can see, well, what is the real solution?
Yeah. So I'm just, this is a lot. I mean, we only covered 25% of the news for AI this week, but just understand that something happened this week that made agentic capability like a new standard for a lot of the people that are using it. And I don't think it'll go back. I actually think it'll only accelerate, because now the big companies, it's their incentive to make it work in a similar way, because if not, then why would you have to go to a ChatGPT?
Right.
Why would you have to go to their interface? A lot of, it's hard to explain if you've never experienced it so far, but a lot of the need to going to those locations start to dissipate.
Well, because you said it's like you have to have this one and then this one and this one, and it's like you're bolting on all of these, where, if I understand from what you shared and with the whole AI agents and it being in a browser, browser based, and now there's no constraints.
Right. So like before, I'd have to be like Claude Cowork. It's like sitting there in the browser, maybe doing the drafts of the emails. And now if I'm in Telegram, it's like, hey, can you follow up with this? It's like 2 minutes later, done. So,
and people don't even know what Telegram is. So
yeah,
there's a lot that has to be done.
There's just a lot. Just be aware, and just what we shared in this video. Just be aware that things are progressing. Just start to make time to learn AI and play with it on the weekends. I am not a coder. I'm going to say that again. I don't even know what I'm reading when I see the numbers like matrix on the screen, but I've pushed myself. I've built tools. I've learned, with what's possible today, you don't need to be a coder. You just need to understand your clients and build things that are useful for people. So,
Yes.
but yeah, just be aware. We're going to maybe try to start doing this more often because a lot of things are accelerating at a very high speed and we want you to be informed. I'm going to be coming out with a lot of videos specific to this. And if you have any specific requests, then just message me on LinkedIn. Where can they find you, Kizzy?
You can find me on LinkedIn, you can find me on Instagram, and if you're interested in government contracting space, it's a beautiful space. No matter who's president, what's going on, agencies and states and cities and municipalities are still buying.
Yeah. And it's, that income from like the government they're paying. And again, how can you be useful? So we appreciate you and we'll see you next time. Ciao.